Hey, folks, it's Shooter, February 1st, 2022. I couldn't come up with a nice catchy phrase for February, so hey, we're rolling with it. Okay, disclosures. Prior success does not guarantee future performance, and just be aware of what you're trading. Let's jump right into the chart. Well, let's start with the SPY, SPY ETF. You know, we're looking good here, constructive. You know, I think we pushed to that 465, and then we fade back down on this minor wave, you know, just this uptrend that we have here. If I can get it to look for me there. So we sort of get these waves that'll look like this. So, you know, here, when we get down to the 447, which will either be this afternoon or in the morning, I'll put on some additional calls because I took off those 449s, probably a little early. I just was busy and pulled them. Didn't, you know, they were in the money. Didn't want to lose it. Looked like it was fading right here. So we just took it. All right. So we're going to jump over to the NASDAQ. Now, not as constructive as the SPY. You know, I think we put in this 367. And I had 372 earlier. Now I'm getting a little lower count. And then maybe we flush back to 338. But I think this floor around the 8-day holds. So you know, so I do expect the NASDAQ to come off maybe by weekend. Let's jump over to the Dow. Again, constructive. Now, I think the lows in, folks, you know, if we back test, break below the 348, I'd have to change my mind. But, you know, right now, maybe once we get up and put this through, we come back down here on the speed line. Actually, I should probably have a speed line up here as well. Just looking at where our tags were. Now, you know, our difficulty here is that we sort of overshot that original trend. So there really are two speed lines, which indicates that we're going to go a little higher, I would think. Let me just move this up over here and just adjust for that leg up. So, you know, that would be sort of our 3 up there that we get to. Something like that. So, you know, could push a little bit higher than where the count is. So looking at that, so maybe 374 to the high side if we looked at that. So anytime, you know, one thing that, you know, I find with waves and counts, the way that I see them, and I don't know if that's correct or not, but it works for me. So who cares, right? So, but, you know, when you're looking at legs down, you know, they tend to duplicate themselves. So, or legs up, same thing. You get these looks where, you know, where would my equality be? So if we've not put in a third, you know, quite often what LE8 wave does and the pattern recognition that you go through is this elongated 3. So since we didn't take this out, you know, I would now have to extend that out and say maybe down here. You know, if we fail here, that's where we would be going because it likes equality. That's for sure. There is absolutely no question in my mind. It likes equality. So, you know, just like, you know, if I take this trend line to the high side, not spending too much time here, but I'm just going to take this trend line and give you an example on where it likes equality. So we got our 2 here, right? And it wasn't until we got way up here until we got a 3. See how it's sort of elongated? All right. And, you know, so it likes to put those patterns. So we got a 1, sort of a 2, and this is our extreme 2 up here. So we would be looking for a 3, and I'd have to change the color on this. But, you know, how I use the speed lines to measure equality, you know, is just, you know, so at some point, you know, off of these tags, you know, equality for to the upside would be 417, which is way up there. So, you know, now does it hit it here? I don't think so. You know, those even though it measures there's some extremes that is so far outside the outlier range, it's not even funny. I mean, if I go up on a monthly on this chart and throw up overlay with Bollinger Bands with fibs, I doubt that I can even see that on a chart that far out in time. Now, ironically, it's right up there at 3 standard deviations. Look at that. Oh, my God. I've not even looked at that before. Okay. We looked at the Dow. Let's jump over to, I think what next was IWM. Very constructive on IWM, considering my count was way down here at 148. Now, there's a good possibility that this turns into an ABC here. I've got a speed line here up there where it says R1. Now, the one thing about Elliott wave, until you get wave 2 confirmed with a back test, it still can morph into something else to the downside. So it's a crossroad, but we know it's a crossroad. And we also know what it's going to do in certain outcomes. So when we put in this 195 off of this 208, then we need our next back test. And that's where you take it on and head for those 229s. That's the highest conviction trade right there when you use Elliott wave for your setups. So that's the look. Let's look at TLT. Now, no man's land again. We were here and then we didn't get back up. We failed. We're here. We didn't get back up. So maybe we do fail. I hate this ticker sometimes. It's just a beast, and it's so hard to, it doesn't track well with Elliott wave compared to other symbols. I don't know why. It's just sometimes the insanity. It's just like the US dollar JPY pair does not track well to Elliott wave at all. It's too emotional. So either that or they're intervening way too much to control the pair, and it's not measuring the legs of how people trade it, because ultimately that's what Elliott wave does. It measures buyers and sellers' greed and fear in account. And so when somebody intervenes and sells it as an outlier number, like for example, they come up here and sell it at 160 to save it from the floor to try and push it up, or sell it at 150 here to push it up. They're trying to push the price, and that's something the buyers and sellers don't see. So we're sort of blind to intervention, and that's the difficulty when the Fed manipulates things. And honestly, why I completely disagree with that scenario. I think they should stay out of our markets and let buyers and sellers determine price totally 100%, because that's free market. That's where we should be. But that's my take for Turnaround Tuesday. Until next time, folks, great trading.